This is a non-90 degree angle. So SOHCAHTOA doesn't work. Okay? So we're going to learn something called the law of sines. Okay? And the law of sines tells us this. That the sine of A over the leg of A is equal to the sine of B over the leg of B, which is equal to the sine of C over the leg of C, which is pretty simple. If you have any triangle and you have angle A, this would be A. Angle B, this would be B. Angle C, and this would be C. That's it. Okay? And so as long as you have an angle and the side, an angle and the side, and only one of those pieces is missing, hence X, you can use law of sines. Okay? So, in this case, the sine of X over 6 is equal to the sine of 40 over 12. Okay? Pretty simple, right? Now, how do I solve? How do I get sine of X by itself? How do I get rid of this 6? If it's dividing by 6, what's the opposite? Yes. So I'm going to multiply by 6. But what do I do to one side? You got to do it to the other. And that cancels that out. So what we did here was we started with, number 1 was the law of sines. Okay? And number 2 was multiplication property of equality. Okay? And so what do we do now? Well, there's a rule. Remember this triangle, that 3, 4, 5 triangle? And this is theta. And we said that the sine of theta is equal to 3, the opposite, over the hypotenuse. But if we wanted to try to find the angle, right? It's called the inverse angle theorem. Okay? The inverse sine. What we would do is say sine inverse of 3 over 5 would equal theta. And that's how we would find the angle. Okay? Remember I talked about this? This also looks like this. A sine 3/5 equals theta. Okay? And what's funny is if you have a Android, right? If you plug it in your Android, right? Then, look at that. Okay, so you plug it into your Android, it's going to come up that sine inverse, right? You're going to see when you hit second, right? You're going to see that sine inverse button. So when you push sine inverse, but then all of a sudden it comes up a sine, because they're the same thing. Okay? They're the same thing. Okay, so over here what we're going to do is to find x. X is equal to the sine inverse of all this. 6 sine 40 over 12. Now if we want to plug that in these calculators, we would say 6 times sine of 40 equals, and then go divide by 12 and hit equals. Okay? And that's going to give you a 0.3213, right? And then you're going to go second sine, because that's the sine inverse. And then second negative button, which gives you the answer that you just had, and hit equals, and you're going to get 18.75 degrees. All right. As long as we're in degrees, we are. Okay. Now I do it on my calculator. It's a little bit different. I'm going to go, am I in degrees or radian mode? Okay. So, I'm going to go 6. So, inverse sine of 6 sine 40. Okay. Divided by 12. It equals, and I get 18.74 again, 75. Okay. And what that is called is the inverse sine theorem. Okay? And that's it. That's problem number 20. The law of science is actually fun and easy.